What would you risk if one desperate touch could end 12 years of suffering or get you stoned to death for breaking the law? A woman declared untouchable by society, defied everything, crawled through a hostile crowd, and reached for the robe of a passing stranger, triggering a miracle that would echo through eternity. Look at her, walking among us again. Hasn't she learned her place? Hasn't she suffered enough? The law is clear. She doesn't belong here. Have you ever felt this way? Rejected, abandoned, cast aside by the very people you trusted most? Have you ever felt the world forget your name? When silence becomes the only voice you hear. Maybe you've been there, where prayers feel empty, where hope feels too far to reach. If I can just touch his cloak, just once, my strength is leaving me. Father, see my pain. Don't forget me. Where every single day feels like a war between believing and breaking. But what if I told you something powerful? Even in your darkest hour, heaven never stopped watching you. This is a story of a woman the world threw away. A woman whose body was failing, whose heart was exhausted, whose faith was hanging by the thinnest thread. For 12 long years, they called her unclean. For 12 years, she lived in the shadows. But one moment, one desperate, trembling touch, changed everything. This isn't just her story. This is a story for anyone who has ever been rejected, forgotten, broken. Just one touch. Because what she found that day wasn't just healing. It was love. It was mercy. It was proof that faith, even when it shakes, can still move the heart of God. Stay with me until the end. Because somewhere in her miracle, you might discover your own. Long ago, in the small villages of Galilee, when morning light stretched across the rooftops, there lived a woman whose name the world forgot. But heaven remembered. The Bible tells us about her. A woman who suffered from bleeding for 12 years. Her sickness made her weak, lonely, rejected by everyone. According to the law of her time, a woman with constant bleeding was called unclean. She couldn't touch anyone. She couldn't be part of normal life. A certain woman had suffered from bleeding for 12 years. She had gone to many doctors. She had spent everything she owned. But instead of getting better, she grew worse. Mark 5 verses 25 to 26. When the Bible says she had an issue of blood, it doesn't just mean she was bleeding every moment. It means her body was constantly losing life, draining, like something inside her was stealing her strength day after day, leaving her weak, hopeless. For 12 long years, her life was wrapped in pain and silence. Every day, the bleeding wouldn't stop. Her body grew weaker, her energy faded. She was known only by her suffering, the woman with the issue of blood. She once had hope. When will my healing come? She heard of healers, men who promised cures. But everything came with a price. 5 silver coins. Demons obey him. She decided to try. Maybe, just maybe, she could be healed. She walked slowly into a crowded courtyard, her sandals worn from too many journeys. She hid her face in shame. You seek a cure? Do you have the money? Healing requires faith and payment. The healer looked at her coldly. Sit down, woman. We'll see what can be done. But it will cost you. She nodded quietly, handed him the last coin she had. He gave her bitter herbs to drink. She drank them, but her pain only grew worse. She spent everything on empty promises, but nothing worked. Only more pain, more shame. The next morning, she walked through the market. People filled the streets. Fresh bread, still warm. But when she passed, everything went quiet. Careful children. Whispers followed her everywhere. She's unclean. She shouldn't be here. Drive her away. The woman pulled her veil over her face, hiding her tears. In her world, sickness meant loneliness. No touch, no welcome, no love. That night, she sat alone in her small home. A tiny oil lamp flickered beside her. She tried to pray, but her voice broke into tears. She had no husband to comfort her, no friend to visit her. My strength is gone. Father, look at my suffering. Don't abandon me. Every morning she wondered, will I live to see another day? But even in her weakness, a small spark of hope still lived inside her, a whisper of faith that refused to die. Every place she went, she heard the same answer. No one can help you. For 12 long years, she carried her burden alone. 12 years of rejection, 12 years of silence. But still, she kept walking, because somewhere deep inside, she believed her story wasn't finished yet. She was broken by time and blood, but she was walking toward the one whose touch would end her sorrow forever. Then one morning, everything changed. She heard voices rising from the street, excited voices, joyful voices, calling a name she hadn't heard in years. Jesus of Nazareth. They said he healed the sick. They said he touched the untouchable. They said blind eyes opened and lepers walked free. The words reached her heart like light breaking through darkness. For the first time in 12 years, she felt something she thought was dead. Hope. She began to remember the stories. The paralyzed man who stood, the leper made whole, the woman whose sins were forgiven. Each story stirred something inside her soul. Could it be true? Could there be a healer who sees me too? A small faith began to rise, trembling, fragile, but alive. It whispered in her heart, if I could just touch him, even just his clothes, I will be healed. Though her body was still weak, her spirit began to move. She stood up, wrapped her old veil around herself, and began to walk toward the sound of the crowd. Each step hurt. Keep going. Every breath was heavy, but something stronger than pain was pulling her forward. Through narrow streets, through noise and chaos, she walked, trembling but determined. The years of suffering had not destroyed her completely. Something deep inside refused to give up. The next day, the sun rose over Capernaum. The streets were filled with noise. Word had spread fast. Jesus of Nazareth was coming. Crowds rushed from every corner, men and women pressing close, hoping to see the man who healed the sick and opened blind eyes. In the middle of all this stood one fragile woman, hidden under her veil, her body weak from years of suffering. Her heart began to beat faster. He's here. I must reach him. Inside her mind, fear spoke first. You don't belong here. They'll see you. They'll reject you. But another voice, quiet and gentle, rose within her. If I can just touch his robe, even just the edge, I will be healed. With her last bit of strength, she covered her face and stepped forward. She pushed through the wall of people, her feet stumbling in the dust. Each step hurt, but she kept going. The crowd pressed tighter. Someone pushed her. She fell to her knees. Dust covered her hands, but she crawled forward anyway. Every movement was painful. Still, she whispered, just a little closer. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, if only I touch his clothes, I will be healed. Mark 5 verses 27 to 28. And then she saw him, through the crowd, through the noise. Jesus, her heart pounded. She reached out her shaking hand through the crowd, and with one last stretch, her fingers brushed the edge of his robe. In that single moment, time stopped. A warm light filled her body. The bleeding stopped. Strength flowed where weakness had lived for years. Her pain vanished. She knew it, deep inside. She was healed, for the first time in 12 years. Her body was whole. Her spirit was free. Immediately, her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was free from her suffering. Mark 5 verse 29. Immediately, Jesus stopped walking. He turned and said, who touched me? The crowd was confused. Everyone was pressing close. But Jesus knew this touch was different. Power had gone out from him. The woman froze in fear. She had hoped to remain unseen, but now every eye was on her. She came forward trembling, falling to her knees before him. She confessed everything. How she had been bleeding for years. How she believed that one touch would heal her. In that silence, Jesus looked at her, not with anger, but with love. He called her daughter, a word she hadn't heard in so long. Your faith has made you well. Go in peace. Her tears turned to joy. The word unclean was erased from her life forever. She was no longer an outcast, no longer forgotten. She was called daughter, loved, restored, seen. Her story began to spread from village to village. People spoke her name again, not with pity, but with wonder. She had once been the one in need. Now she became a voice of hope. She told others, don't give up. One touch of faith can change everything. Her story still speaks today, to every heart that has suffered, to every soul that has felt forgotten. Jesus still walks near the broken, and faith, even the smallest kind, still moves his heart. One touch of faith can change everything, because when you reach for Jesus, he always reaches back. If this story touched your heart today, share it. Someone needs to hear it. Leave a comment below. Tell us which part spoke to you most. And subscribe, because this is just the beginning. We share stories that remind us, no matter how far you've fallen, no matter how long you've waited, Jesus still sees you, still loves you, still reaches back. Turn on your notifications. Together, let's keep spreading the light of God one story at a time.